everybody. It's another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Johnny Soto. Let's have some fun today. What's up, Soto? How are we doing, buddy?
Yo.
Ready to skull fuck this show?
Yeah. I mean,
grab a bite's pigtails. We got a lot to get to. This may be a 3-hour show. We'll see what happens. So let's get right to it. Question for you. True or false, Soto? The Las Vegas Raiders have been cheap in free agency.
No, I wouldn't say cheap. Cheap is like what you buy something that's not valuable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we've done that. I think we've added some really nice players. We've been very selective in the players that we've added. I don't think we've been. I mean, who would you rather be, us getting the players that we got for the money we got, or New England and Carolina spending all that ton of money? We're like, what? Like, we wanted to keep these guys, and we wouldn't have paid them what you guys paid them.
Well, they're in their rookie quarterback window, right? So they're free to, they got extra cash. They got an extra $55 million this season hanging around, right? Because they got the rookie quarterback deal. So we can talk value. Let's just talk hard numbers first. So the Raiders' biggest free agent signing, right? It was just re-signing Malcolm Kuntz. You want to know where that ranks as far as contracts go? His $12 million deal?
Tell me.
52nd. 1 year, $12 million. That's the most expensive free agent signing that we had. The biggest actual free agent that we signed, Jeremy Chin, 2 years, $60 million. So haven't spent a lot. The Raiders have added $26.4 million in free agent signings. That's 23rd in the league, very low. But we lost $56.9 million in players. That's 6th for a differential of negative $30.5 million, 28th. So by pure contract wise, pure money wise, we're the 4th best, worst in the NFL, this free agency, as far as what we lost versus what we gained. And in fairness, right, it wasn't a free agent signing for Geno Smith. It was a trade, and we haven't paid him yet, so it's not like we did nothing. The extension of Maxx Crosby, it wasn't a free agent signing, but it was a big extension of our best player. So money was spent. Things were done. In fair, the strict free agent rules that we're putting on we're applying accordingly, but that doesn't tell the entire tale. But I will say, Soto, I did not expect us to be this quiet, losing the players that we did. And I'm not saying there's any one player where we should have broken the bank for. Spillane, it seemed like a lot. Merrick seemed like a ton. I think we could have matched that Spillane money for what he's valuable to us, but I'm not screaming about it. It wasn't like it was a no-brainer. It was close, but pretty quiet.
Is going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Landon Roberts is going to be fine. And when you're a middle linebacker, you don't need to be the fastest guy or the biggest guy. Number one, you need to be able to put the guys in the right position. You need to know the defense. You need to know what you're doing out there. That's the most important thing. Mm-hmm. And then if you can, make some plays on your own, that's just icing on the cake. But if you can help other guys make plays, we'll be fine.
I don't want to be fine. I want to be amazing.
Okay, and it starts with someone who can be fine first.
And there's some serious holes to be filled on this team, both sides of the ball and in almost every room, right? So I don't want to go. It's like free agency is super quiet now. We're probably not going to sign anybody, before the draft. I just hate going into the draft like kind of feeling desperate. We desperately need a corner. We desperately need a starting running back. We desperately need another guard. Like there's positions where it's like every room, it's like we can always improve, but I don't want to feel desperate going into the draft. And I feel desperate right now. I really do.
Well, look, as far as running back goes, is it optimal to be going into the season with Raheem Mostert as our running back? No, it's not optimal. But he's only a season removed from scoring 21 freaking touchdowns in a season. All right. Last season, he had a down year because he had a fractured sternum. Like, people don't realize that. He was hurt. And, I mean, your sternum's not going to just get better when you keep getting hit. And he was playing still on it. So he was hurt. He didn't lose any speed or anything like that. He still has all that. But he just So it's optimal? No, but will we be okay if he has to be our starter? I mean, sure. It's not the greatest thing, but he can still get the job done. We do need corner. We do need secondary help for sure. But I mean, you have to look at we re-signed Sam Webb. Sam Webb's in the veil of all the other Pete Carroll, DBs.
Mhm.
So it's like, so he's like, we have guys out there, and it's not optimal, but it's like, yeah, we don't want to be able to, we don't want to have to fill starters in with the draft, but you're going to get some starters out of the draft. So I get what you're saying, but it's not, I don't think it's as dire as you might think, because I see it from the perspective that a lot of people see it, and maybe it's just me being a Raider fan or whatever, but this defense is a lot better than it played last year because they didn't have a lot of the players that should have played playing.
Mhm.
And the players that did play didn't do great. We were still a pretty bad defense, and they got overpaid to go somewhere else. Fine, go get overpaid playing somewhere else.
Mhm.
I'm sure we can find guys to replace you, and we did. So, am I super, concerned about it? No, I'm more concerned about what we're going to do in the draft and then in the second wave of free agency.
Because there's still guys out there in positions of need that we could get for a decent price, or at least I would assume so, right? Like we need an X wide receiver. Amari Cooper's out there. We need cornerbacks. You've got Asante Samuel still out there. Stephon Gilmore still out there. You need a safety. Justin Simmons is out there. I mean, there's guys out there. It's just a matter of like it didn't like it. I guess that we started off hot, right? Traded for Geno Smith, re-signed Maxx Crosby. Pete Carroll's like, we're here to win now. We're here to win right away. We're ready to go. And then it just petered out.
Yeah.
So that leads to the question. Are the Raiders truly in win now mode? So we've heard it from Pete Carroll, right? He's like, yeah, I'm 900 years old. Like, I'm not here to like fiddle fuck around. He's had 3 losing seasons in like 20 years as a coach. And 2 of those losing seasons were like, he was like 7-8 or 8-9, right? It was like barely under 500, right? So he's drastically raised our basement, right? And so like that gets us a little fired up, right? Like, oh fuck yeah, we're gonna win now. We're gonna re Geno Smith. Like, what a big improvement. We're ready to rock. And then John Spytek said this at the owner meetings. This isn't a 1-year deal. This is a build it the right way situation. Be smart, set the franchise in the right direction, build for sustained success. Get it in a place where we've got a young roster with a lot of really good players. And then maybe there's a free agent in year 2 where you really go for it and you really kind of overextend yourself. We just try to be intelligently aggressive. So I'm maybe the cheapest man on earth, Soto. Like there's people that there's people that brag about how much they spend for a car, a house, a jacket. I'm the guy that brags about how little I spend for things. That's how I roll.
I remember when you first got your truck, you got like free car washes for a year or something like that. And you were there every freaking week, whether it needed it or not, just because it was free.
I sat and this is how much I step over dollars to get dimes. It was like a 90-minute wait to get your car wash because they're just backed up. You know?
Many people there, yeah.
And I would just sit there. Like I could have worked for an hour and a half and made $100 and just paid $20 for my car wash. Like, nope. I bought this truck for the free car washes, and God damn it, I'm getting every single one.
I'm getting my free car washes. I'm entitled.
So I do love me a GM that knows how to stretch a budget, knows how to not overpay. You know, it as a general rule, pinch a penny Spytek is, I'm down for, right? I like that. But it definitely coming from him doesn't sound like we're in win now mode when he's like, hey, we're going real slow in year 1. Maybe in year 2, we spend big on somebody. And then year 3 will be good. Right. So I'm not against a roster that needs a lot of replenishment. We've been over it multiple times, how the Gruden regime, the Josh McDaniels regime just destroyed nuked this roster worth of talent. Right. But it doesn't sound like we're in win now mode, Soto.
I mean, from that specific quote, no. But again, going back to my first point on the previous subject, it's all a lot of it is based around what they feel about this defense and how this defense is going to play with the players they're getting back that were out last season.
Yeah.
So that's a big one because they feel like, hey, you know what? We don't have to do a lot to this roster if our defensive line is humming. If we get the right guys that can play the right system and the right way we want to play. Basically, we need long, 6 foot tall, long, aggressive, bump and run or press man corners. That's what they want. That's how they want to play. We want versatile linebackers that can, versatile safeties that can play linebacker in sub packages. It's pretty simple. It's pretty basic. That's what they want to do because all signs are pointing to them being a very, very aggressive in the secondary. You don't get burned like that if you have a very aggressive and strong defensive line. So they're doubling down from what AP did last season. Only, I think they're being a little bit more frugal in the secondary because they kind of have to be. A lot of those players were already locked in for last season.
Mm-hmm.
But they made a huge deal. They made a huge deal that Telesco didn't make last year when they were in win now mode. They got a quarterback. They got a starting level offensive lineman.
I didn't get the same win now mode speech from a lot of those guys. Definitely Telesco was opposite, right? He was speaking like John Spytek. It's like, yeah, take your time, replenish the rut, draft smart, blah blah blah. I will say this: the words and actions of Spytek aren't the final say, right? It's Tom Brady, it's Pete Carroll. He's not the final say in this matter, but it does seem like there's and in fairness, right? It's the coach's job is to get the absolute most out of every single player you currently have and win every single game and maximize every opportunity right this second. The GM's job is to make sure there's a long-term tomorrow plan, week-long plan, month-long plan, year-long plan, 5-year plan, 10-year plan, right? So in fairness to Spytek, it is his job to make sure, let's make sure we're good in 3 years and not blow it now for that. I'm just saying it doesn't feel like we really are in win now mode. Not that that's the wrong move. I just don't think we're in win now mode.
Well, like you're saying, the GM is always about building for the future. And when the future comes, you're bearing the fruit of your work from the last few seasons. So you're always building for the future because you're keeping that role in mind. So I get where he's coming from, but there's another quote that he had where when we talk about trading for Geno Smith, he was talking to Pete Carroll about how he loves his picks and he has to keep reminding Pete Carroll of that every single day.
Yeah.
That tells me that he's like, I'm not going to go after these high price free agents and screw up all these comp picks that we're going to get next season for the guys that we lose. Dude, we're like the fourth best in comp picks probably for next year.
We got 3 that could be somewhere between
third to fourth.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
we're it's a really complicated formula, but
so him saying specifically because I get that maybe it wasn't Spytek's idea to trade a third for Geno Smith. I'm not saying he doesn't think it was a good deal, but maybe because he even said, I love my picks. I traded away a pick even though I love them, but that was the decision in the room. Hey, get us a quarterback. He even said that he talked to a bunch of different teams, and this is the deal that made the most sense. We're getting the most for what we're giving up. Okay, so that tells me that it wasn't his specific plan to come in here and trade for a veteran quarterback. That wasn't his plan to do that because he wants to build for long term. But there's also that balance of we still have to try to win now. Because if we don't win now, we're not going to be around to, harvest the hard work that we have right now.
Yeah.
So I get where he's coming from, but it does seem like there is a balance being struck where I'm getting players that are going to work in your system that are a little bit cheaper. Some of them have a little bit more to prove than others, but we're getting you good players that are going to be able to work around what you want to do. We all agree on these players. But we also want to help us out for the next season because that's how you build the big winner. Is because his Spytek's job and like Howie Roseman's job are completely different.
Yeah,
completely different. They're completely different. They're the same. They're GMs, but they're a completely different job right now. Howie Roseman is how am I gonna keep this ball rolling? And Spytek says, let me get this ball rolling up over this hill first to get it going downhill.
Yeah.
So it's a completely different thing, and I understand where he's coming from. He wants to get to that point where the ball starts rolling downhill, but still, you have to get yourself up there.
Roseman his job is to sell out the future for the now, right? Like you've got a roster like this, maximize it, win as many Super Bowls as you can.
He doesn't really do that. He does the opposite, especially on defense.
Yeah.
He's letting a lot of these guys go. A lot of his best couple of defensive linemen and a linebacker, he's letting these guys go. But he's signing the guys that,
Well, they got. I mean, they have all pros in every room. Like, there's no way they're going to keep all these guys.
Exactly, but that's the thing is he keeps some, but he keeps replenishing underneath. So that's where Spytek wants to get to, of course. But you have to get that first. You have to get up to that hill first before you go down.
One last story about how cheap I am. Our mutual buddy Dane sent me a photo of us at a wrestling tournament when we were in high school, right? And I was wearing this bright red Volcom hoodie that I wore all the time in high school. This was last year, right? When he sent it to me, I was sitting in bed. I was literally wearing the same hoodie from 24 years ago when I was in high school. That was in the photo that he sent me. That's how cheap I am.
Good God. Say something about Volcom. That's still right? Hanging on.
Remember that was like an elite.
Volcom is no more. You know that, right?
Is it gone? I couldn't even tell you.
Completely gone.
I remember it was like, so we grew up in Southern California. Like I grew up in Orange County, and like the surfer brands is what every like middle schooler wore, right?
Hurley,
Quicksilver, Hurley, Billabong, all that shit. Volcom was like the edgy, more expensive one. It was like the nicer.
They had the little diamond, the little tab.
Yeah, you're like, ooh, diamonds are expensive. This must be a nice one. But yeah, man, they clearly put together some good gear. It lasted through my sweaty ass for at least 24 years. Still wear it. Still works.
The sweatiest of asses.
So the owner meeting's going on. We absolutely love the owners meetings. I don't care about the rule stuff as much. I just love how GMs, coaches, owners are doing interviews, and we get to hear some shit, right? Not too much crazy stuff coming out of the Raiders, but John Spytek was on SiriusXM.
I gotta tell you, man, I wasn't thrilled that his interview was like 30 minutes long. I'm like, wait, no, that's too much. That's too long.
Yeah, don't be giving it away, dude. Like,
seriously,
keep the cards close to your vest. Like that Booker filibuster is contagious. He's like, I'm just gonna talk all the time. He did.
War and Peace. I was reading War and Peace. That's like a book away.
He said two interesting things that I want to share from SiriusXM. Here he is talking about Jeanty.
Yeah, my oldest son has made it no secret that if we don't pick Ashton Jeanty at 6, that he's walking out of the family and he's going to find somebody else. Probably whoever takes Ashton. I think he's motivated.
He's a free agent for fandom right now.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, Jack is motivated by fantasy football and touchdowns in fantasy football, not necessarily all of team building. But I love that my son loves the draft process at 10 years old, and maybe he's starting to fall in love with the scouting process. I hate it a little bit too because I know the life that he's signing up for, but the passion that he has, and he walked right into our building and basically told Mark Davis, like, if my dad doesn't take Ashton Jeanty, he's doing a bad job.
Props to House Rules on Twitter for sending this to us. It went viral, like his little tweet, and like Ted Wynn tweeted about it. A bunch of people tweeted about that. He, found it on SiriusXM. Interesting way that he looks at Ashton Jeanty. He's like, oh, he's just a fantasy football guy. If you want fantasy points, great. It's not. That's not what you do.
Well, I mean, he's definitely playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if any past drafts are any indicator, we're probably taking Jeanty at 6. If he's down talking him out, he's a fantasy football guy. He likes touchdowns in fantasy. Like, yeah, who doesn't like touchdowns from your running back?
This sounds like lying season to me. I'm getting that vibe, right? Like you're talking about, oh man, don't say too much. It's like, well, if he's just spouting all bullshit, then talk as long as you want, right? Get people off the hint. But there is some truth to what he's saying. I couldn't play the whole interview. It was like a 4-minute segment when he kind of broke this down. He's like, look, I have a history of building through the trenches. You know, running backs, they're great, but if you don't have a good O-line, you're not going to reach the maximum of what they're capable of. He does have a good point, though, that Jeanty feels like, yeah, it's a fantasy football draft pickup. We have so many holes in less sexy spots, right? And that was kind of more his point. He's like, yeah, Jeanty would be probably the sexiest pick that's going to fall to us at 6, right? Shadur's probably going to be gone. Carter's going to be gone. Hunter's going to be gone. It's way more sexy than Mason Graham. Like, just sexy. Like no 10-year-old knows who Mason Graham is. They all know they all know who Ashton Jeanty is. You know, it is the sexiest pick I think that's available to us at 6, and I think that was his point. It's like, yeah, there's sexy, flashy. Like, this is a guy I'm going to draft in fantasy picks, and then imagine having another All-Pro defensive tackle on our D line.
God, I'm really torn about this, man. I'm really torn about it because I really do like the idea of Mason Graham.
Mm-hmm. You've been all over the place with this 6th pick. You've really been tortured by it.
Well, I mean, I haven't said I would take this person. There's reasons why you would go one way or another. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna have to make the decision, man, because either way, you're getting a great player. I think a great college player. You're getting there's not many great college players in this draft. Those 2 guys played great in college.
Yeah.
And
there are more than 6 great college players. Like, a great college player will fall to us.
Yeah. So we'll get a great college player. It just all depends on what we value the most and what we think is going to be the biggest need for us to fill right away, and what's going to be the hardest to fill with the drop off of not getting a great player moving forward. Either way, man, we're going to get a great player. So I'm going to be jazzed and I'm going to be bummed at the same time, because I'm always going to be looking at the other. I'm like, if we get Jeanty and Mason Graham just starts killing it, like, damn it, dude, that would be a bummer. Like, when we didn't pick Warren Sapp the year he came out and he started dropping because of the weed thing. Mm-hmm. But dude, we should have got Warren Sapp. What the hell?
Yeah, 100%, dude. I'm exactly that way too. Like, even as amazing as Brock Bowers was, just home run doesn't even describe what he was for us. But I'm still thinking, like, would we be just as happy with like a top corner? Would have been just as happy. Like, you're always thinking, what if? So last night, it was our 10-year wedding anniversary this last weekend. So last night I took the wife out, and I'm not kidding, Soto, the greatest dining experience of my life. Went to this. I'll even drop it. Ocean 48 in Newport Beach. It was.
Well, that was good. The place is good.
You been there?
Yeah, I've had drinks and just apps there. The place is good.
It's, if you sit down and do a real dinner and be like, okay, it's our 10th anniversary.
It's an experience. It's an experience for sure.
Yeah, like, I'll spend more than I should. It's our 10th anniversary. Like, go get the seafood tower, get the steak, 2 desserts. Let's just go to town, right? Martinis, the whole thing. Dude, they served the steak on a plate that it wasn't like electrically heated. It wasn't actively heated. It was heated on a stove and then put on your table. So your steak
was like the stone.
Exactly. It was stone and it was heated. So like you cut it and you're like, maybe it's a little rare. So the steak never got cold.
Dude, I felt that freaking stone when it passed by. I'm like, dude, I feel that heat coming off of that thing.
They warn you like 3 times, like, this is very hot. Please be careful.
That was sick. I saw a couple eating that. We just chill and got apps and drink. But yeah,
if there's ever a very special occasion where, like, okay, I'll drop $400 on a dinner, that's the place, right? Like, that's probably the rest of my life. If there's like an amazing, like, something great happens or whatever, like, that's where we're going. If you're just like, all right, we'll just drop a ton of money because it's a once a year special thing. Anyway, my point being, even after this amazing, phenomenal seafood tower, top 5 best oysters I ever had in my life, an incredible steak.
What kind were they?
I was hammered. I don't remember.
Oh. Were they like bigger and like saltier? Were they smaller and sweeter?
They were mediums. They were medium-sized, flavorful, and shockingly like not salty.
They could be like Pacific Northwest ones.
It was. We got a half dozen, and then it was 3 different kinds. So Vicky will remember. Ask her.
The Baja ones are like bigger and like saltier. The new, like the north, like back east, like up northeast ones are like smaller and sweeter, and then like the in between ones are like the Pacific Northwest ones.
When they give you a martini, they bring the shaker and pour it there, and you still have like a whole.
Yeah,
other
they leave the rest
martini
there.
left.
Yeah, that's a baller move, dude.
It was like almost a whole other martini in that shaker. So it's like 2 martinis. They gave us. They knew it was our anniversary, so like the owner wrote a card, or the GM, like happy anniversary, whatever. They gave us a free dessert because it was our anniversary. It was berries with cream fraiche.
Jesus, that sounds great.
That was phenomenal meal. My point being, even after, I'd have to think about it, but I'm pretty sure that's the best dining experience I've ever had in my life. As I was leaving the restaurant, I was like looking at people's plates. I was like, ooh, maybe I should have gotten the chops. Maybe, that red wine looks good. Maybe I should have went. Even after that, right? The best dining experience ever. I'm still walking away with like, maybe I should have gotten, I should have gotten that. Maybe that's me at the draft. Even after Brock Bowers, I'm like, man, we really need a quarterback. We should have traded up. Yeah. A corner we're really desperate for. Yeah. So that's how I'm going to be at the end of April.
The last time I left Captain Jack's, I had like crab legs the size of my forearm. And I'm walking out and I'm like, man, I should have got the escargot too. I should have fucking just pulled the trigger on it.
Dude, the restaurant called us the next day just to be like, did you enjoy your experience? Anything we could have done better? Any complaints? Just called just to like see how everything was. They have a pond in the restaurant. There's like a pond.
Yeah, it's a cool spot. It's a cool spot, man.
It's unbelievable. Like I was so blown away. It was great.
No, it's a chill spot, man. I really like that place. Definitely want to go back. It's like I had the same feeling. I took Homeworld to the Hat. You know, you've been to the Hat, right? Oh God, dude. Freaking the Hat. Amazing pastrami, chili cheese fries.
Okay.
Great spot. Real old school spot. There's a couple of them. And I always want to pull the trigger on the tuna melt because I love tuna. But I always end up getting the pastrami.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I saw someone like when it was just packed high. I'm like, oh God, I should have got the freaking tuna. Damn. Got to go to the Hat, dude. It's good.
Well, like the Hat's like, yeah, it's the known for its pastrami, right? It's like getting spaghetti at a seafood restaurant. You're like, it might be the world's best spaghetti. It might be like just fun, like the best spaghetti you'll ever have, but it just feels weird getting it when like it's next to the swordfish.
Yeah, but you know, you still get the chili cheese fries.
Right? Can't go without it.
Can't go without that.
The other thing Spytek said, he was asked about the extension of Maxx Crosby. Tell us about that.
Well, Maxx and I hit it off right away when I got to Vegas. We actually exchanged some text messages shortly after I got the job. I've been a fan of his for a long time. You know, when you're a new GM and you get 10 teams call you and ask you if they can have a player, you know, they're telling you something. Correct. And they're probably telling you you're young and dumb, maybe just dumb enough to do it. Jason actually tried to get me to trade him Maxx the night I got the job officially in the bar at my house.
He's like, look, now that that's settled,
hey, man, you were with me for 9 years. You know, can we do some business?
He was actually texting Brady and saying, I'm with your guy at his house right now, and I'm going to get him for a 5th-round pick.
That's Jason Leitch, the GM of
Jason Leitch.
Tampa Bay Bucks.
Jason Leitch is a good GM, dude.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I mean,
that's funny, right? It's like, oh, fresh meat, fresh blood, brand new GM.
The water.
Yeah, it's just like that movie with Kevin Costner, the draft movie. It's called The Draft, right? Or Draft.
The Draft.
Draft Day. How like Jacksonville had a brand new GM. He just like, oh, let's call him. Let's get 3 first-round picks out of this guy. It's like that. Like,
he's all freaking out when they call him. He's like, oh.
Yeah. You're like getting all like high and mighty about it. He's like, yeah, you can. It's like, yeah, that's gonna be a great move. That's hilarious. 1, 2, 10 teams called about Maxx Crosby.
I don't doubt it.
Get that door knocking.
I mean, look,
right?
You don't know what a team is thinking about their roster, how far away they are once they walk into the place. You have an idea, but walking into the place, like when you walk into the freaking kitchen of a restaurant, you kind of see what's really going on. Then you really see like all the warts and everything, right? And rats. Get in there and hey, maybe he feels that they're a little bit further away than maybe a lot of people think. It's a flyer. It's worth it. Let's see.
Yeah. Maybe he's trying to tear it all down, start over, right? Tear it all down, start over.
Maybe.
Get a 2 firsts for Maxx and someone else. That's what they're thinking. Makes sense. So Josh Jacobs was what show was he on? Some random YouTube show. They got a lot of big names on it. Zayas, he's got a YouTube channel. He's got some pretty big fucking names. But our old buddy Josh Jacobs was on there, and he was asked, "What's the most underrated player in the NFL?" Right, most underrated player. Right. He didn't say a teammate in Green Bay. You'd think, a good teammate, you'd be like, oh, we got this guard who's or Jordan Love, like even as good as you are, he's even better than you think, or we've got this guy. Like, he didn't. He said, there's a lot of people that be cold that really don't get a chance to showcase what they can do. I would say who shocked me the most, especially on a day-to-day basis, was Jacoby Myers. He had no drops last year. When you see him at practice, he works. He do the grunt work. He don't care. He don't complain. He a real one. Jacoby Myers, someone that's not even on his team. Most underrated player in the NFL, according to Josh Jacobs.
I mean, I think we see it when Devontae started pulling his nonsense. We saw that Jacoby just kind of slid into that role. Mm-hmm. And he's not Devontae Adams. I don't think anyone is saying that he is, but he's definitely a lot better. I think we both said that he's a borderline 1A, really good 2.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing in this Chip Kelly offense. You don't need to really have a number 1 receiver because he does so much misdirection. He has the defense moving around sideways so much. You just got to be on the same page. So, I mean, I can see him still being very good and maybe even eclipsing his numbers from last season.
I mean, if he doesn't eclipse his numbers from last season with the quarterbacks throwing to him, we're doing something wrong, right? And he had a good season, right? 87 receptions, 1,000 yards. The first one of his career, right? So, like, even with all the trash of that offense, no running game. Yes, right? 3 different quarterbacks, none of them great. O-line, very mediocre. Still put on, what Brock Bowers was able to do, what Jacoby Myers was able to do. It's a testament to those 2 players, what they were able to do with what they had. Mm-hmm. But I think also the part that he brought up was like, it's Jacoby Myers. There's a couple things going against him. One, he was a Patriot, and everyone's like, oh, Patriot receivers suck. So he's automatically like, it's like being a quarterback from the Jets. Like it took Geno Smith like 7 years to remove the stain of the Jets off of him for people to finally be like, oh yeah, he's actually not trash. He's not wearing green and white anymore, So there's that. 2, like he's always been in the shadow of somebody, right? Devontae and then, stuff like that before. And his numbers aren't crazy. He's not, no one talks about Jacoby Myers as a really, as at all. I was going to say great wide receiver. No one talks about him at all. Never, ever talked about in any way, shape, or form, right? You make the jokes of Jacoby and Myers law firm in Los Angeles, and that's like the extent of it. That's all anyone talks about. But when he was talking about how hard he works day to day, grind, it's not just how he plays, but how he practices on a day to day basis. And I think that's what got Josh Jacobs the most. Because, as we know, Josh Jacobs' story, right? Lived in his car, didn't have anything, had to work for everything he had. He appreciates other people with that same kind of feel about it.
Yeah, man, he likes the guys that are just putting their heads down and work. Mm. And I think maybe he might be a little jealous of Jacoby's ability to kind of keep his mouth shut on things because Josh got a little bit diva-ish and a little salty on the way out. But for a guy that goes out there and does his job well and is great a teammate and really good on the football field, yeah, I mean, just there's those guys. The guys that don't command a lot of attention are usually underrated because they don't promote themselves.
Is he the most underrated player on the Raiders?
I think before Kuntz got his deal, yeah. Mm. I think since Kuntz got his deal, I think he's I mean, for a prove it deal, going to get $12 million on a prove it deal. That's give me $12 million on a prove it deal. But he's probably one of the more underrated players. I don't know if there's another one, unless Jeremy Chin if Jeremy Chin plays the way that he played like towards the end of the season and into the playoffs, if he plays that way the entire season, it might be Jeremy Chin. But yeah, I mean, he's one of those two guys, probably, I would say.
Here's the big question. Is he so underrated that we dismissed him as our wide receiver one, as our X?
Possible.
We're always like, oh, he's such a great number two. He's we just get a Devontae Adams. He's the number two. Like, what a great duo, right? Because again, Brock Bowers will be the number one weapon, regardless of how, what Chip Kelly uses with him, right? Is he going to line him as a tight end more? Is he going to be basically a wide receiver? Whatever, right? Like, he's going to go hog wild with him, right? So he'll be the number one target, number one weapon. But as far as building an offense with a wide receiver one, an X, is he so underrated that we've all dismissed him of that role? Like, he should be wide receiver one at the Raiders.
I think he is by default wide receiver one. And I don't think that the team is really worried about it. I don't think they're really concerned. I think they're okay. Would they like to have like a legit number one, like hands down, everyone thinks he's the number one? Yeah, I'm sure. Of course they would. I think they're okay with him being the number one receiver,
though. So the O-line, we thought we kind of had figured out, but there's it's not. Far from it. Vic Tafer of The Athletic tweeted out, one interesting detail from our chat with John Spytek, the Raiders are looking at 4 guys competing for the 2 starting guard spots. Powers Johnson, Parham, Kappa, Meredith. And the 3 others, minus Kappa, will compete for the center job. He also replied, what's the plan at right tackle? Spytek said, DJ Glaze, and we have 9 draft picks. And you know how I love offensive linemen. So this isn't small news. We thought for sure left tackle Colton Miller, right tackle DJ Glaze, center Jackson Powers Johnson, and hopefully we sign some guards, and then we've got all these other guys that could potentially fill in. It sounds like that's not set in stone by any means.
Yeah, and I don't think it should be a surprise though. I think with the amount of like flux that there is in the interior offensive line, it's just the best 3 guys, the combination of the 3. So if, let's say, for example, if it's Dylan Parham, who played center really well his last year at Memphis, if he turns out to be a better center than he is a guard, and, JPJ is just as good at guard as he was at center, then there's no problem. Everything's fine. We'll still have him on the line. So
I am shocked. I think center is such we talk about most underrated player on the Raiders, most underrated position in football, center. It's such like you are the quarterback of the O-line. You and the quarterback have to have a great relationship. You're involved in every play. Like, you're the one that's right. You're the closest guy to the quarterback to protect the quarterback from the first player. And he was just so goddamn good at it. Like, he's the best interior lineman we have by a wide margin. He's going to be the best interior lineman we have, I think, pretty much no matter who we sign. Like, there's no one in free agency better than him at interior line. So I'm hoping, and I'm kind of hypothesizing, I'm 72% sure that this is just going along with the Pete Carroll competition. We are going to put him in an open competition, and we'll figure out center. We all kind of know who it's going to be, but we have a policy. And in year 1, you don't want to be giving a second year. When your policy is every position needs to be defended, you need to earn every single position. You don't just hand a starting gig to a second year player. I think it's more that than them thinking, well, Meredith might beat him out, so let's give him a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can all say that probably the best 2 offensive linemen out of the 4 are Jackson Powers Johnson and Alex Kappa. Mm-hmm. But where they're the best at for this team remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Either way, man, as long as the best 3 are out there. And the thing is, I said it earlier in the show or before the show, if there's anyone that you can believe that says, I'm going to play the best player, it's Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
He's done it everywhere he's gone. It's the best player plays. And regardless of where you were drafted or, how much we invested in you, I'm here to win games. And if someone we picked up off the scrap heap is better, we're going to play that guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have any doubt about that. It's just I just firmly believe you want your best interior lineman to be your center. If he knows how to snap the ball, right? Unless he's just a complete schmuck that just refuses to know how to snap the ball and you got to put him somewhere out that guard. You have him at center, just as like a general policy. I hope it's just, hey, this is how Pete Carroll rolls, and we're not making exceptions. You know, every single season in high school and in college in the wrestling season, like you could be a 3-time national champion at 141 pounds. But before the season starts, you do wrestle-offs. And the freshman who sucks, he gets his shot to out-wrestle you and win the spot, right? Like every position is up for grabs. What about the DJ Glaze comment? DJ Glaze, and we have 9 draft picks.
Yeah, it's a competition.
I think that's exactly the right answer. It's like DJ Glaze, yep. It's a position that we're not gonna. If a
We're
really
not going to hand
tackle,
him the freaking. You're not going to hand it to him.
Yeah, if a really good tackle falls to us in the 3rd round or something, we're going for it. Type of thing.
Let me tell you something, man. There's some guys out there. We can get some steals later in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute steals.
I love a good highway robbery in the draft.
And it's not even because guys don't know who they are. It's just this draft is really deep in the middle. Like a lot, very deep. It's not very top heavy at a lot of positions. I mean, I don't know that it's very top heavy at any position, but the positions that are very deep in, they're like just into the 7th round deep. Mm-hmm. Interior offensive linemen, defensive linemen. If you include edge rushers, it's like the deepest I've seen in a long time. There's receiver even. There's a lot of good. There's not the top end guys, but there's a ton of good ones. Mm-hmm. And running back, a lot of guys.
There's Pamela Anderson drafts and there's Jennifer Lopez drafts, right? There's top heavy and there's bottom heavy. This is a Jennifer Lopez draft. It's if your pick is like like the worst pick you could have is like 9. Because you're not going to get one of the amazing game changers at 9. And you're way too far ahead for the like second best tackle who should be good.
To have a guy just fall to you and make it an easy choice, right?
Yeah.
You're not gonna reap the benefits of teams ahead of you reaching. You're gonna one that's gonna be reaching.
Yeah. You're gonna be forced to, right? All these guys, like if you're 9 through 20, you're desperately trying to trade back. You really are.
In this draft,
ready? Yeah. You ready to do some what up Windbags?
Yeah, man, let's get it done.
Sam DeMan. We really don't do a show without talking about Sam DeMan, our most active commenter. I think RJ is the closet cannibal.
Oh,
is he from Haiti? What is this? What is this closet cannibal? I'm completely out of the closet as a cannibal. I wonder what makes him think I'm a cannibal.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of in the closet, did you see that that clip going around about Norm Macdonald on Larry King Live? He's like, "What's your deepest, darkest secret?" Oh, okay. My deepest, darkest secret is I am a deeply closeted gay man. And he's like, "So you'd say you're gay?" No. I'm closeted. I'm a closeted gay man. So I'm straight. It's like, wait, well, you're saying that if you're in the closet, though, that means you're gay. No. But I'm in the closet, so I'm straight. So good, dude.
I'm so deep into the closet, I'm finding Christmas presents.
That is such a high level troll that the more you think about it, the better it gets. So good.
Daniel Tosh, for 12, Tosh.0 was on for what, 15 years, and then all of his stand up before that and during and after, he always hinted at him being gay. Like he's married, multiple kids, he can still be gay and do that, but he just extended it for 15 years.
So good.
Like he'll just make a gay comment and it's that's hilarious, but it's just gay enough for you're like, I'm smelling 11% of truth here. Like, are you gay?
It makes your head tilt
yeah, like you're looking around, you're like,
do you hear that? Do you hear that?
That's the next level comedy when your bit lasts 15 years and I'm still talking about it now. So talk about most underrated. Daniel Tosh, fucking hilarious. Tatty 707. You know how to make your quarterback better in the red zone? Run the ball. Yeah.
Give him a sign, man. Captain Obvious. That's
Right.
what we were talking about. Talking about Geno Smith. The first season he doesn't have Pete Carroll, and the run game that he usually has is the season that he takes a dump in the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not rocket science here. It's not. I know, what is it? What is that? What's that saying about causation? Correlation does not equal causation.
Correlation does not mean causation.
But it's kind of hard to ignore, like all those different things together. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I get it.
Is there any aspect of football that doesn't get better for you if your team runs the ball?
No.
If you're good at running the ball, your defense gets longer rests, your passing game opens up, the red zone is so much better, your turnover ratio should be better.
Your positional, like special teams, everything's better if you can run the ball.
Wear out defense is better. Like, it's just like the game is shorter, so your players aren't playing as much that season. It's like every aspect of football is better if you run the ball. Red zone, no exception. And I think Chip Kelly's the best one person you can hire to fix the run game. Like, we're still a running back away. We're still at least 2 guards away. The scheme has to be implemented. We need depth at running back. Actually, I'll be honest, man. If we have, let's say, for instance, we do draft Ashton Jeanty, right? Let's say that. I like our running back room at that point. When, like, if Zeus is our 4th option,
he's our power back or something,
right? Sincere McCormick, we don't bank on him, but if he's our 3rd option, that, like, when he's healthy, he's played really well. Like, if we do get a stud, like, wow, I all of a sudden. We went from the worst running back room in football to one I'm very pleased with.
Well, that was my point. When you're looking at Mason Graham or Ashton Jeanty, it's Ashton Jeanty. Just not only is he a special player, but he's 1 of 1 on the field at a time. So the position of running back gets so much better with that one player than Mason Graham makes the defensive line being 1 out of 4. When he plays.
I just think our O-line still isn't good enough to, like, maximize what Ashton Jeanty can give us. I think Saquon Barkley's the best example, right? He was good in New York. He was one in a generation with the Eagles because the Eagles is just a great run game with a great O-line. And so you can maximize everything Saquon's capable of because he's on a team that can get all of it out there. I feel like Ashton Jeanty would be like, we have a Ferrari, but the speed limit's 45. It's just.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, because the running back does help the offensive line too. We saw what happened. Well, cops are coming.
I'm gonna arrest you for this take.
We saw what happened when Josh Jacobs left. I mean, he was the guy that was making a lot of people miss and jump cuts and hard to tackle behind the line of scrimmage.
He's another great example, right? Like he made up for a lot of how bad we were. But he did so much better in Green Bay, right? Because it's a better team, better offense, So like he can definitely make up for things, for problems, but he can't, like, his ceiling will be put down. We'll see. Last one, John Dentis 5501.
Dentist.
Listen, fellas. He starts off the comment with listen, boys. Malcolm Kuntz had Patrick Graham and Robbie Leonard. Who did Aiden O'Connell have? Luke Getsy, Josh McDaniels, no run game, crappy offensive line. This is from last show where we're like, look, like Aiden O'Connell, don't think he's like the guy, great backup. Yes, he was dealt a really harsh hand. Yeah. One top, or I guess bottom 5 quarterback situations in the NFL last year. Absolutely atrocious. Was Malcolm Kuntz sat, Patrick Graham, Robbie Leonard playing along opposite end of Maxx Crosby. He had a lot more going for him, and that's why he played well. He must have convinced you with that one. Soto, He said, listen, fellas.
I'm listening. I'm waiting for a point that makes sense. Because there's an out and out lie here. A crappy offensive line, run blocking maybe, pass blocking, it was actually pretty good offensive line. So I don't know that you want to give Aiden O'Connell credit for running the ball, which is where the offensive line struggled. So he got decent protection, offensive line. Like if you're not a top pick in the NFL, if you're not a top pick making a ton of money in the NFL, and you get an opportunity, you better leave no doubt that you're the guy for the job. And I don't care who's the coach. I don't care who's you're throwing the ball to, or who's in the stadium, or what you ate for breakfast. It doesn't matter. What matters is what happens in between the lines. And they're not going to give you the benefit of the doubt over and over and over again, because guess what? The decision makers' jobs are on the line too. So you need to make it clear that you're the man for the job, regardless. And we talked about this before, and I got a little irritated about it. And I'm not trying to talk shit or anything or jab at anyone or anything like that. But this smells so much of like a Derek Carr situation where it's just excuse after excuse after excuse. And after a while, it's like, when are we going to embrace results and not embrace excuses?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, Aiden O'Connell has not been consistent enough to show that he's a legit starting quarterback in the NFL. Because when Geno Smith was given the opportunity, regardless of what was around him, he did not let that go. Aiden O'Connell did not do that. He had a great game against the Chiefs, and then he goes the next week against Tampa, a very winnable game, and takes an absolute monkey shit all over the place.
Don't need to make it racial.
No, I'm not racial. It's animalistic. But the thing is, it's like, dude, you can't have those games if you're Aiden O'Connell. You can't have those games. It just can't happen. You have to leave no doubt that you're the guy. And if you want to hang on to all these excuses, great. John, you're well within your right, but you're going to be banging your head against the wall over and over and over again, like we did for 9 seasons, trying to get something out of someone that is not capable of giving it to us. So keep doing that.
Well, it's two things. It's two things. Just because he didn't have a great situation, or let's call a spade a spade. He had a terrible situation. No one's arguing that. No one's arguing that Aiden O'Connell was handed a pile of shit, and they're like, all right, make filet mignon out of this. And he didn't do it, right? No one's arguing that. But he was but it's not all one big thing, right? There were certain drives where guys were open, protection was great, and he missed throws, couldn't make the play. There's many specific plays. There's plays where he looked phenomenal. There definitely are. And there's enough plays where things went good. What you needed to do is there, and didn't do it. Right? 2, this all doesn't matter. He's still on the Raiders. If he is better if he's better than Geno Smith, he'll start over Geno Smith.
He's going to start. Right? I don't think we understand that. I don't think we can wrap our heads around that.
Literally happened in 2012 with the Seahawks. Brought in Matt Flynn, drafted Russell Wilson in round 4. What 4th round quarterbacks start as a rookie? It never happens, right? If there was any other coach in Seattle, Russell Wilson's probably not the Super Bowl winning 10-time Pro Bowler, $250 million quarterback. Because what coach in the NFL will start a 4th rounder who's 5'4" over a free agent quarterback you just brought in to start? Probably only Pete Carroll. So if there's any coach in all of the world, in all of the footballs, that's going to be like, yeah, this 3rd year 4th rounder is better than our, $120 million quarterback, we're starting him. So this is all kind of for naught, because if he's better than Geno, he'll start over Geno. And then we can all and Soto and I will put giant feet in our foots in our mouths, and we're going to say like, all right, he's the better guy.
I don't think we have to, because we're saying it right now. He has a shot to do it. We're saying it right now. He has a shot to do it. And look, it's not like he hasn't been given the opportunity to start before. He had the opportunity to start last season, and he just didn't do enough. He didn't do enough to convince everyone in this organization that he was a better starting quarterback than Gardner Minshew. That's just the bottom line. I'm not saying that he wasn't a little bit better or he was casually better or whatever. I'm not saying that. He didn't do enough to say, you know what? I'm going to give him a shot. 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 I'm going to give him a screw the money you give this guy. I'm the better guy. It's not all about the preseason games either. Every day in practice, 1v1s, he didn't do enough to show that he was the guy.
And this is another example of how bad the regime was, because Aiden O'Connell was clearly the best quarterback on the Raiders last season.
He was like better.
That's Getsy. That's like, yet how can we find more ways that Luke Getsy sucked as an offensive coordinator? Like, there was another one because he was he was the best quarterback.
As bad as Getsy was, if Aiden O'Connell showed that he was that much better, he would have played.
Maybe not. I am willing to think that Luke Getsy is that terrible of an OC where he's just like, no, I want Gardner no matter what. Like, he is that bad that he could like Aiden could have been better than Gardner in practice.
I don't think AP was that bad.
Clearly he was, because Aiden O'Connell was very clearly the best quarterback on the roster last season. And I think that's also the other part too, is I think, and this is a nice part of Raider Nation. And this, I think an irrational thought process is coming out of a good, rational feeling. Aiden O'Connell was a feel-good story. He's been a feel-good story, right? Like you root for him. You root for Rudy, right? But Rudy's high was playing one game at Notre Dame, right? Like, you rooted for him, and it was a great story, but I don't want that guy being my starting defensive end if I'm Notre Dame for 11 games in a season. You know, he's the cool story, but you want the best guy. So I do understand Raider Nation really, or a portion of Raider Nation. I don't think it's as many people as you think so. I think it's just like an allowed minority. I think Aiden O'Connell's like, he's the guy, let him do it. I think it comes from a good place, but he hasn't shown it, one. And two, if he really is better, if he's better than Geno,
he'll be given
they're pro, college, and high school. There may not be a room that will more likely start Aiden over Geno than this one. If he is better, if Aiden is better, this is the room, this is the organization, this is the head coach that would say, fuck it, we gave him $150 million, Aiden's still better. He gives the best chance to win. He's starting.
And here's the thing, for anyone who's like has their heart set on Aiden O'Connell starting the season off as our starting quarterback, okay? You cannot disparage the word of Pete Carroll, because he's shown you, and everyone who talks about him tells you the exact same thing. Competition Monday. It's competition day. Who's going to start this week? Everyone tells you the exact same thing. It's not just people who have, just been schmoozing around him either. It's guys who have played for him. They all tell you the exact same thing. Pete is about competition, and if you're starting for Pete Carroll, you're the best guy for the job. That's why guys didn't. I'm sure it bummed them out, but they weren't like, oh man, I got demoted second string. I need to work harder to get back. It's not like, oh, screw coach, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Because like out of the entire team, he's going to just single you out to be the guy that's better than the starter, but he doesn't want to play you. No, he's that guy. So Aiden O'Connell is going to be given a clean, clear opportunity, every opportunity to start for this team. If he doesn't, put it to rest.
Almost this exact situation happened in 2012, right? Russell Wilson, he's a third rounder, not a fourth, but this is his third year for Aiden, not rookie like Wilson. And I looked it up. Flynn had a $26 million contract, $10 million guaranteed. In 2012, that would be like a $35 million guaranteed, $80 million contract, right? So again, not quite as extreme, right? Geno will probably get 120 mil, and Aiden is a fourth, not a third. But it's pretty close. It's pretty close. Pete Carroll said, nope, going with the rookie. So let it play out. Let it play out, boys. And then you can tell us you told us so. And I'll listen. All right, that's it for us. The draft can't get here fast enough, man. Can't wait.
Please get here faster.
If this, either do something cool in free agency or speed up time so we can get to the draft. Anything cool happens, we'll hop on in between. But until then, knock on wood if you're with me. Hey, you made it to the end of our video. Great job. I know you want more. go ahead and click the next video. And if you're feeling crazy, go ahead and subscribe.